Jack Daniels is proudly served in fine establishments, questionable joints, and everywhere in between. So, no matter where you go, in every bar, you'll always know someone by name.
Jack.
Jack and Coke?
Shot of Jack?
Jack Daniels, please.
Right away.
That's what makes Jack, Jack.
Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. Copyright 2025 Jack Daniels. Tennessee whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. 80 proof.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic, to cosplay, to Schitt's Creek, to Supernatural, and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and on Friday's episode, we had a change in our schedule. We were originally going to be talking about Severance, but due to scheduling issues for my panelists, we had to change that. We will still be doing a Severance episode. It's just going to be exclusively for our Patreon subscribers. So click the link in the show notes or go to the Support Us tab on our website. It's afandomthingpod.com. Become a Patreon subscriber, and you can hear that and other great bonus content. So instead, I just reached out to my panelists and said, I need to change something up. We'll do like a movie. Don't know what. Who is available for this time? And Carla graciously said, I'm available. And I happen to have known that Carla had just seen the new Superman movie, the new James Gunn Superman movie. And so I said, do you want to talk about Superman? And she said yes. So that's what we are talking about on Friday. We are going to be spoiling the movie. So, if you haven't seen it already,
Well,
you can order it on streaming now too. So it's not just in the theaters. So yeah, but hello, Carla from OK Real Quick.
Hi, Erin. I love how you made my yes so subtle, which is so very much the opposite of my reaction, which was like, yes, let's do Superman. I was like rabid about it. I was like, yes.
I was like trying to be like, oh, she's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Like Carla's a normal person who doesn't flip out over joyful things.
Yeah, because we're not a fandom podcast that
Not at
geeks
all.
out about stuff.
Absolutely not. That would be so weird.
Yeah.
Who does that?
And covering Superman will be the first time since we talked about DC and Marvel like years ago that we have talked about. No, that's not true because we covered the Batman films. What am I talking about?
Oh, that's
For
true.
our first Christian Bale month. I'm sorry, Christian. Sorry.
How dare you?
We'll cover Thor as part of our Christian Bale month some year because, we still have a ton of movies, but
Yeah.
we will eventually have to cover that. I'm saying that like it's a chore or something. I don't know.
I guess if we have to.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to talk about, to cover that. So I'm excited to talk about that movie. But before we get to that, we are going to get to some pop culture and fandom news. So first and foremost, Carla, other than the fact that you're like probably really angry at Hurricane Me, I keep trying to make jokes about this, and then I'm like, I really shouldn't make jokes about it, but I'm like, I really want to make a joke. Like, I'm so angry with the world. I'm just like infuriated. And then when it's coming towards North Carolina, I'm like, I just really want to see Carla so bad, but I don't know how to do this in a subtle way. So I turn into a hurricane. So, other than being mad at me.
Listen, I am incredibly flattered that you became a whole weather event just to come and see me. I would have also accepted regular air travel or even train travel, as I think those are so much better alternatives, although I do understand this one's significantly less expensive. So, I can't fault you for that. If I had the power to turn myself into a weather event, you better believe that I would.
So, but other than that, What is one thing in pop culture or fandom that you are into right now or looking forward to or pissed about?
I am so excited to tell you about this. Okay, so you know about my abiding love for my emotional support white guy, Shane Top, and how much I think he is like super neat, like, just seems like a cool guy. And again, let's not be weird about this. I don't mean this in like a weird parasocial way. I just think that his persona and what he puts out into the internet on the Smosh channel seems like a very grounded person who is empathetic and still hilarious and all this kinds of stuff. Anyway, enough about Shane. Let's talk about Smosh. Because Smosh recently did their Smosh Summer Games. Now, Smosh had done Smosh Summer Games years ago, and then they had stopped doing it for a while. And I'm very new to the whole Smoshiverse, or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know. Again, I'm new, and I'm also very old. And a lot of people who are into it are much younger. We're not going to talk about that. But the point is that they used to do this before, but in one of the times that they were owned by different entities, the people who were running the channel did some very sketchy things during the Summer Games that are incredibly creepy. So it was kind of like a good thing that they had gotten away from doing the Summer Games. They brought it back this year, and it's been, at least from what I can tell, a huge success. People seem to be really into it. They had merch that sold out almost immediately. But more importantly, it looked like the cast members were having a ton of fun. And that's what I really loved about the Summer Games, is that it's just a series of videos of them having a blast doing ridiculous things. And what they did is that they took the cast, they split them up into two teams. And then they did, one of them was like, okay, let me back up for a second. The theme is 2005, high school 2005. So it's all like, because with YouTube.
Sorry, that just made me so sad.
Well, you're about to be sadder, because the whole reason that it's 2005 is because that's when YouTube started. That's when Smosh started. Rather, so yeah. So they did like a throwback to Smosh's 20th anniversary. And so, rather to YouTube's. Anyway, point is, they set it in 2005. It's like a high school setting kind of thing. And they all had little like personas that they had for their high school personalities. And so they had these two teams, and they had, for example, like a field day thing where they did like a sprint and a high jump and little things like that. Then they had another one that was what they call silent library, where you have to be dead quiet, but they do things that's like try not to laugh, or there's like a rubber band that you like flick on somebody's leg and the person has to try to like not scream. So it's just very silly. The whole thing is incredibly silly, but it culminates in this amazing, magical kind of talent show thing that is promposal. So they have this one guest YouTube celebrity that they all have to do a proposal to on like a high school stage. And they're all, like the participants are all in the audience, and they go each one at a time, and they do, they put on a skit, or they do a song, or it was honestly like such innocent, sweet, adorable, goofy, nostalgic kind of fun. And I just really loved it. I thought it was like low stakes fun, because you get to pick, like, oh, what team are you rooting for? And then you see the proposals and you're like, oh my gosh, I hope that like this person gets a good score. And it's just goofy and silly. And I loved it. I had such a blast watching it. And I'm glad to see from the like after event interviews that they did that they also found it like rewarding for themselves, and that they came closer as a cast through it. And then on top of that, one of the participants, Keith Leak Jr., he announced that because he had cancer a couple of years ago and it went into remission, but it came back, and this like was announced like at the end of the Summer Games. So that's just when it happened to be announced. And they set up a GoFundMe that has already like doubled its goal. And I think that
Uh-huh.
that's, the goodwill of the people who love Smosh and who love Keith and who just want to do something good. And I think that I'm not saying that like they timed it, because it's not exactly something that you time, but the way that it worked out, that it comes at the end of like this very feel good event. And then I think like inspires you to even want to be more generous and helpful because of this thing that they gave you. So I just think that it's like a beautiful thing that was put out into the world, and I really enjoyed it.
Aw. Oh, I love that. And yeah, and maybe I will be sharing being into this because
Yeah.
I have agreed.
We're doing a foreign exchange program.
We are, because Carla today is like, I need someone over a certain age to be into this, to be watching this. And I'm like, I will do it on one condition. You do a favor for me. And then I tweeted a gif of the bear. So I've already been sending Carla TikToks. I'm like, Carla, any minute now is going to block me. But so I am going to be watching the Smosh games. You're going to have to like point me in the right direction. I have no clue where to begin. I don't know what to do.
You don't need to worry about it. I'm making you a playlist. All you have to do is load it up and start watching.
That's amazing. I love that.
I'm making
Thank
this like
you.
seamless for you.
Thank you. That's like making mixtapes for somebody.
Yes.
Thank you.
It is my
I
pleasure.
appreciate that.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Maybe nobody else is at the end, but we'll see.
I would make you a mixtape of the bear, but I can't really do that. I'll be like, you just go on Hulu.
Pretty
It's
much,
right there.
yeah. Well, I guess your version of the mixtape will be when you send me season by season spoiler-filled TikToks.
Yes, and then I send you a bunch of fanfic.
Yes.
That'll be the real thing when I send you the fanfic.
Yes.
So, yeah. Which I read one, which actually really liked it. I was amazed I liked it because it was one of the most recommended ones for Sid and Carmi. And one of the tags on there is consensual poisoning. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay. And there's even a vomiting tag, and I do not like vomit. And I'm like, okay. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting kink. I don't know. This is an interesting, because there's lots of light dom sub undertone fics out there in this ship. Like, I've noticed more of them.
Oh.
And if you watch the show, I think you can probably guess which way probably people would lean. I'm not going to say.
I haven't even watched the show, and I'm already guessing.
What's your guess?
My guess is that Sid would be the dom.
You're exactly correct.
Of course I am.
Yeah, so in that fic, it's Carmi that gets poisoned. The first time, it's totally accidental. And I didn't realize this with elderberries. This is true. You have to like make sure they're cooked a specific way or they can poison you.
Yeah.
And I take a lot of supplements and stuff that have elderberries in them. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I mean, as long as you're not like choking them down by like the handful, I think you're fine.
Yeah, that's true. But so I'm very excited about this little exchange we're going to be doing.
Oh
I really hope neither one of us regret this.
I mean, honestly, I think you have less to worry about than I do as far as the regret thing.
Oh, I was going to say the exact opposite. So I'm like, Carla's going to be like, what the hell?
I already know going into this that I'm going to be hella stressed watching this. So, like, I'm already planning, like, my times of when I'm going to watch it so that it doesn't, like, compound with other stress. I have a strategy going into this, Erin. I've given this some thought.
Oh, that's cool. That makes me happy. It makes you feel, I mean, there's stress throughout. I think season 4 is the least stressful season, but if it makes you feel any better, season 1 is the most stressful season,
Okay.
in my opinion. I don't think anyone would argue with me about that. It's like stress to 11. So just so that you know, that's the most stressful season.
See, I'm glad that you're telling me this. This way I can temper my expectations for the stress. I can plan to watch that during the day and then like ease my way into the evening with some Superstore or something.
Yes. And then just to be prepared, when you get to the episode Fishes in season 2, that is a lot. And it's almost an hour long. And it's so stressful. It's like the most, it's really hard to describe until you see it. But it's stressful. It's also very painful to watch. So I just want to make sure you're prepared when you get to that.
What you're telling me is split it up into 15-minute increments and then have like, I don't know, like a cookie in between.
Yeah. Yes. That's the first time you see Jamie Lee Curtis is in that episode.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this. We'll see. I'm going to be seeing Carla off and on for the next, for the rest of the year. What am I talking about? I talk to her every day. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to be seeing her on the podcast. So you will get to hear where I'm at, and I'll get to hear. I mean, she'll hear off of here, everybody. What am I talking about? Anyway, what I am into is incredibly embarrassing. Like, so embarrassing. I think this is the most embarrassing thing I have ever mentioned that I'm into on this show.
I cannot
ever.
wait. Oh my God.
So I have never really watched The Bachelor, ever really watched it. I've watched a little bit of it, a little bit of Bachelorette. I watched this baking show, this, Summer Baking Championship, really light fare. And it's hosted, some of those are hosted by Jesse, who used to, I guess, be a Bachelor contestant or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I decided to watch Bachelor in Paradise. And my sister and I have been watching it, and it is so damn entertaining. I can't even begin to tell you, because this show is like, it knows how stupid and ridiculous it is. And it's kind of having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really like one of those, you're watching these people that are all so incredibly fake and awful, but it's incredibly entertaining. And so I'm very embarrassed, but I'm very into it. I'm not going to stop watching it. I'll probably watch the next season. I don't know. But I am very into it.
Well, this is like me watching The Ultimatum and swearing it off and be like, I'm never watching this ridiculous crap again. And then it's like, oh, but they have the queer one. And I feel like it would be really rude to not watch it. So
Yes, it's exactly, which I actually watched that too. So just the queer one, though. I haven't watch the other one. Just that
that's
one.
right. Because don't support the straights.
Yeah, because for some reason the straight one makes me really uncomfortable. But anyway, I've been watching that, and then right after it will play right after is the match game. It's the new one, hosted by Martin Short. And that one's fun too. The one that was just on had Joel McHale and, oh my gosh, Winston from New Girl.
Oh, yes. I know who you mean, but I can't.
Lamore.
Yeah.
Lamore is his first name. What's his last?
Sure.
Yes. And then it also had, I'm forgetting everybody's names. It also had, Alexa from Schitt's Creek.
Oh my God, you mean Alexis?
Alexis. What is Alexa? Oh my God. I'm sorry. Alexis. Annie Murphy. Yeah. So anyway, so I've been having fun watching that too. So it's these two things back to back. It's just like totally like, you need something, I think, right now in this landscape that's totally like mind numbing and
for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to watch 2 trailers, because when I have one person on here, even though I'm like, wait a minute, it's Carla and I, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But no.
Like half an hour later, we'll decide whether or not it was a good idea.
Yeah. So we're going to play 2 trailers. One of them, if you knew this was out this past week, should not shock you at all that we're watching it. Neither one of these shocked Carla, I'm sure. But because I chose them, like, I'm just going to choose them. I make people watch the trailers I want to watch.
Honestly, if you had asked me which ones I thought, it was going to be exactly those.
Yeah, I figured you would know. But when we come back, we're going to watch 2 trailers and give our thoughts on them.
Abercrombie denim is everything right now. Denim should feel like this. Confident, easy, like your butt has never looked better. If you didn't know, Abercrombie's Curve Love denim went viral in 2019 for eliminating waist gap, and it's still a game changer. Between that and their classic fits with a straighter line from waist to hip, the perfect denim does exist. Shop Abercrombie denim in the app, online and in store.
Okay, so we're back. And if you check the show notes once again, you'll see the links to these trailers. The first trailer we're going to watch is for Good Boy, which is a horror movie, all told from the point of view of a dog. And I've already talked about this movie, hyped it up. I am so damn excited for this movie. This movie actually might become my whole personality, unlike it'll be a competition between that and the Bruce Springsteen movie, which is such an weird, odd combo. But, they both come out in October, so hey. But so go to the link in the show notes. You don't have to watch this one if you don't want to, if you're not into horror, and watch Good Boy. And Carla and I will be back in just a moment with our thoughts on this. So we'll be back in like 2 seconds, but you can pause us. Okay, so Carla and I just finished watching the trailer. I am not going to tell you how many times I have watched this trailer.
You've watched it all of the times.
So, and it put us back into a different...
We're not circles anymore.
Right?
What gives?
That's so weird. I'll just leave it. Whatever. So, Carla, I don't know if you watched this trailer before I sent it to you, but what are your thoughts on this trailer?
I think it's going to be interesting because it's a very inventive premise to have a horror story told through a point of view of a pet, because it's not something that it's not like you see it every day. It reminds me a little bit of the movie from a couple of years ago. Oh my gosh, what is it called? Nobody's Coming to Save You or something like that I really loved, because that one is pretty much silent the whole time. It stars Caitlin Diver, and it's similar in that you're not going to get a ton of dialogue. It's going to be a lot of context clues, and I hope that it'll be just as weird and cryptic, because I really like that about it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pull it off.
So I will say first, because since this trailer has dropped, the searches for "Does the dog die" have gone up 2,000%.
Wow.
People are so worried about this dog. Indy is the name of the dog. The real life dog's name is Indy. And people are terrified. This movie was talked about a lot, in South by Southwest, where it won the Howl of Fame award, which I love that. And critics were like, dog lovers, you have to watch this movie. So when people say dog lovers, you have to watch this movie, I'm not thinking you're going to watch a movie where a dog is like brutally murdered on the screen or something. And so, spoilers, I looked it up. I wasn't going to, but then I was like, oh, let everybody know. And everybody had said the dog was fine, but I was like, well, you never know if people are saying that in like a cryptic way or something. And so, spoilers, everything I've heard is the dog survives, which makes sense because the dog is the main antagonist. The main protagonist, of the whole movie. The movie is shot entirely from his point of view. Like, you see the people from his point of view. You're never going to see something that's not his point of view. This movie took years to make because they did not want to put this dog through a lot of trauma. This dog is the director's dog. The director and the producer are married, and this is their dog, untrained, wasn't a trained dog, not an actor dog. They filmed this in their home so he would be comfortable. They play like the humans. I guess there's voiceover work, but they play like some of the bodies that you see so that he would feel comfortable, and all his actions were natural. They would do where he would be waking up and it's him actually waking up. So they would wait for him to naturally. So they took such care, because that's the other thing I keep hearing is people are like, this dog looks like it's in pain. Oh my gosh, they put this dog. And I'm like, do a little tiny bit of research. It'll take you 2 seconds to find out that's not true. That they spent so long making this movie specifically because they were working with a dog, and they even had to change some scenes because it just wouldn't work with Indy. And I mean, they even said he got so many treats that during some of the shots, you can tell he's gained weight because he got so many treats. I've heard that, honestly, this is like one of the best performances you will see this year, that he's incredible. And a lot of people are like, I don't know how they got this dog to give this performance, but It's amazing. So I am so excited because I think it is such an inventive and new way to tell an old story of a haunted house.
Yeah.
And animals are always more perceptive to things than we are. And I'm sure you have been with your animal and seen them stare in the corner and growl or meow or hiss or do something. And you're like, what the hell? And you don't see anything.
Yep.
So that's why I think it's such a great premise. So I'm very, very excited about it. As anybody who knows me should know. You okay?
I heard a noise. Hello? Probably the cats.
Looking at something. That's not... They're like, Erin's here.
They're trying to warn me. Mommy, you have a guest.
Oh my gosh, that's creepy. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I have a feeling Indy will be in my top performances of the year. I tried to do a cute video of Fergie watching this trailer because I'm like, and I kept saying, look at the TV, and she'd just look at me, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to have to surprise her with it and have her just automatically look over because I just would be curious. So I'm sure this would be Fergie's movie of the year since she loves horror and it involves a dog as being the hero. So we shall see. So yeah, I'm super, 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 super excited about it. And I know I have it hyped up in my head a lot, but hey, I can't help it. Okay, and the next one is a movie I didn't even know about. I'm sorry, future hubby. I didn't know about this until I saw the trailer, but...
You mean he didn't text you about it?
I know,
It's so weird
man.
of him. You're going to have a talk with him.
He's very humble at times. He doesn't want to tell me. But my future hubby, Colin Farrell, is in a movie coming out that looks like this is an Oscar baity movie, to be frank, which there's nothing wrong with that, called Ballad of a Small Player. So that should be in the show notes. So you can pause this, watch that. And then once you watch it, you will hear Carla and I give our thoughts on this trailer. So go push play on the trailer of Ballad of a Small Player and let me share the screen because that's the only way that Carla's going to see this. Oh, man. Okay, so we have just finished watching the trailer of my hubby's upcoming film that he'll get nominated for an Oscar for. I don't know. We're just putting it out there. So, Carla, first I want to know, before I ask you your thoughts on this trailer, did you ever watch Conclave? Because this is by the same person.
I keep forgetting to do that.
It's actually incredibly entertaining, which you would not think with what it's about, but it's actually really good.
I love the fact that the cardinals who were gathered at the conclave recently to elect the new pope watched the movie to kind of get an understanding of what a conclave entails. I'm like, that is pretty neat. That is pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a weird world that we're living in now. And that's just another way in which it is so weird.
Yes. So then what are your thoughts then on this trailer?
Okay, well, let's get the bad out of the way, first of all. I do not like the mashup of more, and whatever it was that they mashed it up with. It doesn't sound good. I'm sorry to whomever came up with it. It sounds weird. Like, I get it. We're all trying to be edgy and, like, you know, make older songs sound atmospheric and tense and whatever. It's supposed to be a fun song. Like, pick something else or come up with something on your own. Anyway, secondly, okay, this is bringing up something difficult for me to talk about, in that Colin Farrell in this movie is breaking apart a lobster. And it reminds me of the movie The Lobster, which I hated. So this is deeply traumatizing for me. And I'm going to demand compensation for what I'm going through, having brought that back into my mind. I think there should have been a warning about that. There should have been a content warning. Colin Farrell and a lobster are in this trailer. I don't know. I'm very offended. Like, I'm going to write to my congressman about it. But other than that, it looks interesting. It looks very, intense. I'm not sure, I feel like it's one of those movies where you end up not liking him, but that's a good thing, and I'm very interested in that kind of role. And I think it's also because like Colin Farrell is so versatile. Like I really think that he is underrated in that sense, that not enough people give him the credit that he is due for all of the different kinds of characters that he can play. Because like I was just referring to the movie The Lobster, terrible movie, but he's really good in it. He gives like he does offbeat really well. Like you have that, and you have In Bruges, which is also offbeat, but in a different way. You have The Banshees of Inisherin, which is like so much more grounded, but still it has like elements that are outlandish. And he is not a great person, but you still feel for him in some ways. And he just has like this huge catalog of films where you never know what to expect from him. And I really appreciate that about him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this all is about, because I don't think you can really tell much about a movie that he's in from a trailer, because it can be something so completely different. And I think that's something that I enjoy about his performances.
If you enjoy his performances so much, you could sign up and be on the episode discussing him.
Yeah, I could, but then, I would deprive the world of you having the opportunity to talk about him yourself for an hour and 45 minutes.
And I'm like, no one wants to sign up to talk about my future hubby. I've even offered, like, you can be the bridesmaid, or maid of honor, excuse me. I'm taking it down a notch because nobody's signed up yet. No, all jokes aside, all kidding aside, I live in the real world. I live in reality. Don't worry, people. But what's interesting about Colin Farrell is when he was younger, even though he was a good actor when he was younger too. I mean, Tigerland, A Home at the End of the World is still one of my absolute top 5 favorite performances from Colin Farrell. And other movies, like even Minority Report, he was really good in that. And I think what happened then is that everybody just focused on his looks and how good looking he was, and didn't concentrate on what a great actor he is. And then I think when he got older, he started doing a lot more character work. And I think that's when people started noticing it a little bit more. And what I appreciate about him is that he is not afraid to get ugly. And by that, I don't mean his appearance necessarily. I just mean he's not afraid to look ugly. He's not afraid to really let everything go and be completely vulnerable. And even if it means he's not a good person, or the character, I mean, he's playing, like the scene in the trailer with the lobster.
I can't believe you just brought that up again. Like, honestly, Erin.
Sorry. The trauma.
I'm crushed.
But it's really gross looking. I mean, what he's doing with that lobster in his mouth and his face is not attractive. But it's because he's in character, and he is not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to be ugly. And I think that's part of what makes him such a great actor. Like, he knows how his eyebrows are like very prominent, and so he knows how to use them. He knows how he can use his physicality and everything. He's very good at that. And so it makes him a great actor. And he's very receptive to those around him. You can tell a lot about a person when he won for the Penguin. I think it was the Golden Globe, when he won, and he thanked craft services. I don't think I've ever heard anybody thank craft services before in my life. And that's the kind of person that you kind of gather he probably is. And so I know you're like, what does that have to do with this? I do think people that are like that, sometimes it makes them better actors. I know there are good actors that are horrible, awful people. I'm just saying that I think sometimes it makes them more receptive and open actors, especially to whoever they're acting alongside.
Well, to expand on that a little bit, I think that, actors have to be in touch with humanity. And I think that the actors who are the most in touch with humanity are the ones who pay attention to people, not just as accessories to their lives, but as humans who are not just there in their service, but existing, and value them as people. And I think that the actors who are the most interesting to watch are the ones who seem genuinely to care about others. Like, you have him, you have Christian Bale, who may sometimes go a little too far in that regard, but, and Jensen Ackles, people like that who seem to be aware of the people around them. And yeah, again, not just as like, oh, they're here because, I'm so great and they're part of my set. No, these are people doing a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it makes them more enjoyable to watch, I think. And so I'm excited for that, for a lot of things. If it's another chance for him to get an Oscar nomination, of course, it just looks good. And I really liked Conclave, which was the shocker of the year for me last year, because I was like, this movie is going to bore me to tears. And I was so into it. I was so into that movie. And so that makes me more excited for this, that it's by the same person. I also used to play Texas Hold'em all the time, and I love poker. I love poker so much. And it was really fun to play as a woman, because talk about a game where you are underestimated as a woman. That is a game that you are. Yeah. So that also attracts me to it. Of course, this is going to be more the seedy, probably addict. We don't really know, which I also appreciate. But the more seedy side of it is what it looks like. So I'm excited about it. I'm going to try and hopefully see it in theater, because this is a Netflix movie. That's the one thing that kind of detracts me from it. I'm kind of, I don't know.
Well, they're just going to cancel it halfway through if you like it. Like 3/4 of the way through, you're going to be like, oh, you're enjoying this? Bye.
Yeah, so that's the one part, is I'm like, I'm going to try and see it in the theater and not just stream it, but we shall see. So yeah. So thanks, Carla, for watching those 2 trailers with me that you knew I would choose. So thank you. I appreciate it. I will say I have not watched the Colin Farrell trailer nearly as much as I have the Good Boy trailer.
Also not surprising.
I have watched, I'm trying to think, the trailers that are coming out. I've watched actually Black Phone 2. I've watched that trailer so many times. I'm actually so excited for that movie, and I'm so annoyed that I'm so excited about the movie.
Then you're having the right reaction.
Because when I first saw that trailer, I was like, fuck, this actually looks really good. So, because they're actually doing it in a way that makes sense. And I'm like, oh, damn it, this actually looks so good. And the music that they're using is really good 90s music. And I was like, damn it. So I've watched that one a lot. I've watched Good Boy a lot. And then I've watched the Bruce Springsteen one a ton of times too. So, shocker, I know. That's my personality, just wrapped up in a cloak.
You know what? Just throw in a little bit of Dean Winchester somewhere in there, and it's 100% across the board.
I know. Yep. So we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're just going to...
I've always said that.
We're going to talk about the huge success of both Sinners and Weapons, and if that's an indicator of that people are seeking films that are a little bit different, or is it just because they're horror movies would be another question, but I don't think it's that. Anyway, we'll be right back.
New season, new chaos in college football.
Let's go! Big stage, big opportunity.
This Labor Day weekend, the wildness lives on ABC, ESPN, and the all-new ESPN app.
What a way to start!
Featuring top 10 teams like Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, and LSU, and Bill Belichick's debut at North Carolina.
It's so special when these teams collide.
Don't miss a lineup filled with electric matchups.
Welcome back to college football.
Kickoff week presented by Modelo. Labor Day weekend on ESPN and ABC. Also available to stream on the all-new ESPN app.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so if you didn't know, both Sinners and Weapons are humongous successes, like huge. They've made millions upon millions of dollars. If you don't know, horror is very, very cheap to make. And that's why people love to make horror movies, because they usually will, it's a proven thing. They'll be able to make their money back. But with Weapons and Sinners, what is very notable about both of these is that, right now it's very hard for movies to make a profit in the theaters. People aren't going to movie theaters as much. And so to see movies that triple double, like break box office records, are like Sinners, like the most successful horror movie ever, kind of, that kind of level of success during a time like this is really notable, and not just because they're horror movies. And so, like Josh Brolin, who's in Weapons, he recently said, quote, "Right now with so much content, you're watching things on whatever streaming service you're on and you're just going, fuck, why is this so boring, man? Why? And just go to the next thing. It's all the same shit." So basically he's just saying there's nothing original out there. And then in response to that, the Twitter account Freddy in Space, John Squires, who writes for Bloody Disgusting, great account, said, "Hard to disagree with Josh Brolin here. I think we all have a very bleak outlook right now about the future of the industry and streaming and AI and all of it. But massive success stories like Weapons and Sinners prove that audiences are hungry for originality, quality, and this part I really like, human art." Yes. Human with a capital H. All of those letters should be capital. But so, Carla, I know you haven't seen Weapons yet, but I know you love Sinners. You're going to be on our episode discussing it, kicking off Horror Month. So what are your thoughts on all of this?
I think that, oh my God, there's such arrogance with people in power in general. And studio heads are definitely an example of that. And studio heads have been arrogant for as long as studios have existed. They think that they know what people want. They think that they know how people think. They think that, that they have their finger on the pulse all the time and that they're just these brilliant strategists who are just, in touch with everything, man. And sometimes they get it right, but a lot of the times they don't. And it's because of that arrogance, because they underestimate people. And that's, it extends from everything to, how entertainment in the US is so over-explained. Like there's no subtlety because they think that audiences in the US aren't smart enough to get certain things without it being spoon-fed. All the way to this, where they think that, oh, well, we know that the way to get people into the theaters is to just pump out superhero movies and reboots and sequels and all of that. And yeah, they end up making money. You know why? Because that's all that there is. And if that's all that there is, then what else are you going to do? Like if you don't have a wealth of choices, but you still want to go out and have a good time, you're going to pick from whatever's available. But the success of movies like Sinners and Weapons definitely points to the contrary of the idea that people will only go out for quote unquote tentpole films. People want to be entertained, full stop. And to be entertained, we need originality. We can't just see the same things over and over again because we just get bored. Yeah, absolutely. It's boredom that we're seeing in audiences at the idea that, is this all that there is? And in that way, it also helps movies like Sinners and like Weapons, because you are being given something different and interesting to latch onto. Now, I still think that Sinners would have done great at the box office, even if it had been up against a lot of other great original movies, because I just think that it's that good. I haven't seen Weapons, so I can't really say one way or another. But at least with Sinners, I am absolutely sure that in any market, with any competition, it would have just done amazing because it's just a fantastic film. Mm-hmm. But I also think, for every movie that we watch that is, part two, the rebirth of whatever, the reimagining of this and that, what are we missing? For this movie to have been greenlit, what did we not get to see? What is it that we are deprived of by studios throwing money at the same thing over and over again? And yeah, again, we are part of the problem because we do end up watching them. But again, there's only so much that we can do as consumers when that's all that there is. So, oh yeah, and the human art thing, yeah, 100%. You're not going to get people falling all over themselves to watch something with AI anytime soon, because AI is just a heartless thing. There's really nothing compelling to it. You may get eyeballs on it because of curiosity, but I don't think that it's going to be embraced the same way that something original and made by passionate people is going to be. And I don't think it should be either. That's a whole other discussion. But it just really makes me mad that these people just sitting in their little offices think that they know what we want, when they have demonstrated that they don't. Because again, I was joking about Netflix before, but look at how many original things they've canceled. Shows that they've canceled, movies that have been talked about but that never came to light. So they're telling us something and then they're proving it true by making it true by taking away choices. So it's they want to do things on autopilot. They don't want to have to test out something new in case people don't like it and then we don't recoup our money or whatever. Okay, bro, but what is it that you're maybe failing at? I do wonder with the Fantastic Four movie, which sucked. Like, I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Could something else have been put in its place that was new and fresh and original and that had maybe, I don't know, actors that you don't usually see? Could that have done the same or even better? We'll never know. Isn't that great? There's some other timeline that gets to have fresh content, and here we are in the worst timeline with reboots and sequels. So thanks a lot, Hollywood.
Yeah, and Fantastic Four really bombed at the box office too. So
yeah.
I think people are just really there's superhero fatigue, even though Superman did really well, but that's kind of an anomaly right now, honestly. And I think that's just because it's better than others have been recently. So I think that's part of it. DC was looking for a shot of new blood, frankly. And I think this is kind of how that all happened. But anyway, yeah, I think, and the thing is there is a lot of original content out there. The problem is unless you're in a market that's going to get the original content and where you're able to see it, you're not going to be able to see it. Because there's a movie, and I haven't watched it yet, and I really wanted to, but it's called Sorry Baby, and it's supposed to be one of the best movies of the year. It is written by, I believe they use they, them pronouns, but it's written and directed by someone. It's about the aftermath of a sexual assault, but it's, I guess, told in a really, really unique, different way. It's supposed to be amazing, but that only got attention because I'm in film geek circles, and so that's how I know about it, and I love independent film. But if you're not in those circles, or if those movies aren't being shown at your local Cineplex, then it's hard for you to know about them, because that's the problem is once they're out there, though, and if you're able to see them and they're in a market you're in and you want to go see it, support those, because then, money is the only thing that Hollywood listens to is money.
Yeah.
So the more they make, the more they'll want to churn out original content. But going back to Sinners and Weapons, I totally agree on Sinners, because Sinners was actually released in a time period. It's not as bad as January and February, but it was released in months which aren't necessarily the biggest box office months anyway. And so the fact that it did so well and broke records just tells you if it had been released, like, say, in the summer or something, it probably would have even done better, maybe. I think my guess is they'll probably re-release it around Oscar time, because they're going to push this movie. I will be shocked if they don't, but they are going to push this movie hard for Oscars, because the Oscars is also a business when it comes down to it, and they want people to watch, and they know people watched this movie, and people watch this movie that wouldn't necessarily have gone to this movie too. That's the other point with it. And also the thing with Sinners and with Weapons is seeing in a movie theater is an experience in and of itself. Because if you see it with a good crowd, a crowd that's not on their phone, not talking, then it's an experience. It enhances the experience of watching the movie. I know that was the case with Sinners. I know the scene, which I don't want to spoil if you still haven't seen Sinners, but there's a scene in Sinners that is unlike anything I've ever seen in a movie before. And it really benefited from being seen on the big screen. I think it's still good on the small screen. I'm just saying there's something more special about it. That was what Ryan Coogler's intention was. So seeing that scene on a big screen reminded you of why, at least for me, why I love movies so much and what is so amazing and impactful about film. And that movie also has a lot to say. There's a lot of messaging behind it. And I mean that as like a total compliment. It's also unique and different and something we haven't seen before within a subgenre that we've seen almost everything in, and that being vampire subgenre. So that's why I think it succeeded so well. And also word of mouth, because people went and saw it and raved about it. And that helps too, even more than critics is actual audience members. And then Weapons was also like one of the most enjoyable times at the movies, because unlike some other horror movies that I've seen with my sister, where my sister and I are the only ones laughing in the theater, I'm looking at you, everybody that was watching In a Violent Nature with us. Unlike those experiences, everybody was enjoying the movie. Everybody was. So it made it even more enjoyable to watch that film. So I'm glad these movies are making so much money, because then it gives me hope that maybe we'll see more original content like this. And yeah, if you are able to and you see smaller original films, because granted, both of these are not really small independent movies, but if you see smaller films that are original stories, try and support them and get the word out there too for those as well. Okay, but we're going to wrap up this episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. And yeah, Friday, we're going to talk about a very original, not an IP product at all.
It's an indie movie. I don't know if anybody has heard of it. I hope that they have. It would be really exciting if somebody other than Erin and me, because we're so cool and hip, has heard of this little movie called Superman.
I know, like we're talking about this then. About Superman. But anyway, so we're going to wrap up this episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. And Carla, tell everybody where your podcast, Okay Real Quick, can be found.
Thank you, Erin. You can find Okay Real Quick wherever you found this podcast. You can also look for my social media, and that is at Okay Real Quick Pod, wherever you social your media. Or also, you can find me and my art and my musings, and I will point you to Okay Real Quick Pod's social media. You can look for, at Carla Temis on Instagram and TikTok. I forget where I am these days. Oh, and also Blue Sky, by the way. I'm there.
Yeah, Blue Sky. I'm
blue skying it up 2 to 3 times a week when I remember that it exists. And yeah, my website, carlatemis.com. That's CarlaTemis.com.
Yeah, and Blue Sky is really feels like the safest, cushiony place right now. And I hope it stays that way. I don't have much hope, of course, because
everything goes to crap, you mean?
Yeah. And it was created by the same person who created that. So I don't know. But I do forget about it too. And it's so funny because we still have a Twitter account. I just repost things and also use it to yell at people. Yell at a bunch of assholes all the time. I'm like, I really should just delete this Twitter account. It's so pointless to have this anymore. I just use it for rage. I'm like, which is just not good, not healthy. But anyway, you can find all our social media link. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry, Fergie. I am so sorry, Fergie.
How dare you forget? No wonder she didn't care about the movie that you cared about.
I know. So Fergie the dog, who she right now is obsessed with, she swears she saw some creature animal in this bush nearby. So now she wants to go outside all the time and just go look at this bush. I'm not even kidding. She's obsessed. She is obsessed. When she gets her mind set on something, she's just, I think there was probably a cat back there or something and it's not there anymore. But she's convinced it's always going to be there. But But she's a silly, silly dog, and you can follow her on TikTok at Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. To find all our past episodes, links to our social media, links to our Patreon, go to our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And while you're there, consider becoming that Patreon supporter for as little as $3 a month. You get ad-free content, you get episodes a day early, you get bonus content, and occasionally you win prizes. Like for our upcoming horror trivia event, you don't even need to know a lick of horror trivia. You just select your player and you could potentially win some great prizes. So click the Support Us tab on our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com or the link in our show notes. And Friday, Carla will be back to talk about the indie gem, Superman. So until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, and free Palestine.
Hi, this is Kelly Rutherford. You've reached the BioSale hotline. For more information about what BioSale Advanced Collagen Generator can do for you, press 1 for hair, 2, skin, or 3 for nails. 1. Hair. Experience stronger and thicker hair in 30 to 90 days. 2. Skin. A single-step beauty routine for skin with fewer fine lines and wrinkles. 3. Nails. The proven solution to stronger, smoother nails. Boost your own collagen and enjoy our clinically proven results.